stage starts, that we should create a plan to be able to reach those targets, because we know that our target items are more or less achievable. We want them, and we just eliminated the ones that we don't want, or we just modified the items in such a way that they are more purchasable. So in this step, we are going to make a kind of cash flow plan for midterm and long-term money management. How will you achieve your targets? How you're going to plan your monthly income, for example, monthly expenses, etc. I prefer to use Excel to make a financial plan for myself, to see my cash flow, personal budget, and it's possible to use, of course, paper and pen even, no problem. As long as you see your calendar and your monthly, for example, expenses, monthly income, and your actual status, doesn't matter whichever tool you're using. I want to share with you my fictional cash flow plan to be able to reach my targets that I just created in the previous part, and how I implemented those targets into my personal cash flow. Please try to examine this table. I'm going to share it on the screen. You can pause, of course. Just try to see that in the very right column, which is written like the actual, I'm going to have my end of month cash. How much money do I have in my pocket, for example? And in the very beginning, I have the month, because my income is monthly. You can have a different one, but you can, of course, make an average monthly plan, no problem. And then I put there in this following columns my possible income. I put two columns there because one of them is the regular income, the other is maybe irregular income. And then I put my expenses column there, and simply my actual status is the total of the previous month's actual status plus the incomes minus the expenses, nothing more. It's a simple Excel file. As you see, I started with October, and I added a term which was not visible in the list, which is selling a guitar. And then I put this eye surgery here, as you can see in the spendings part. I even put online business founding cost on the next year's October, and then I put some online business income terms. When you see values below zero, this must give you a warning, because your plan might be failing, You must modify some parameters or change your targets. Is it realistic? Are you in doubt? Well, I suggest sharing your list and plan. Ask for opinions of people whom you trust with financial matters after you complete your monthly plan, okay? It might look different. You might make 5-year plan or 1-year plan, no problem. But in the end, whatever you prepare, if you think that it is final, an external view might help you. So as you see, we prepared our plan based on our long-term targets. In this last part of the video, I'm going to talk about simple actual cash management. I believe if we do not have some formulas, or let's say some boundaries, some principles, some references, sooner or later we are going to hit the zero. I'm going to share with you my previous formula, and then I'm going to show you my actual formula, let's say actual approach, and it is very helpful for me, and I hope it helps you too. Let's see. In this part as well, you can pause the video and see in detail what I'm talking about. Here is the formula. I used to call my monthly income, or let's say the average monthly income, as N. And then I say monthly accommodation, for example, rent or mortgage, the cost of this accommodation is A. And then I follow with the letter L, which is standing for the life cost. And then finally, I have another letter for another cost, which is, let's say, all non-obligatory purchasings, whatever you want to call it. And I said, okay, this is Z. And then I hoped that I would have some money after all these costs, and I call this money as a kind of saving, and this letter S stands for saving. So the first formula is N is equal to A plus L plus Z plus S, obviously. My target was to reach an income level, or let's say limit my costs as follows. A, which stands for the accommodation cost, should be less than or equal to a quarter of my income. This is the first one. The second one is L plus Z, which means my life cost plus the leisure cost. They should be less than or equal to the savings. So as you see, I'm trying to balance, I'm trying to create some limits for my budget. These kind of formulas can be easy to reach or can be very difficult to follow. Of course, you should develop your own formula if you want, and you should follow, you should be as strict as possible, as disciplined as possible to follow your own formula. In the years passing, my ideas changed a bit, and then I learned something more, and I had to change my formulas in such a way that it is now a bit more practical and a little bit simpler, and it includes some new items. Let me share with you what happened to my formulas and what I try to follow nowadays. I combined my accommodation, life, and leisure costs. Nowadays I'm doing like this. So if you remember from the previous one, A plus L plus Z is now C only. C stands for cost. I added a new term, and it is represented with the letter T, and it is the investment. And then I just put savings as now for a backup money, for some emergency money, and I included my holidays costs here. So again, the first formula is like the total income is equal to C, the costs, T, the investment, and then S, which is my backup, emergency, and holiday money. Let's say the savings. So my target now became like this. C, the accommodation, life, and leisure costs, total combined cost, should be less than or equal to 1/3 of my monthly income, average monthly income, okay? All my costs. And T should be greater than or equal to, again, 1/3 of my monthly income. T stands for investment. And then I say my monthly income is N, and if I subtract my costs and investment term from this, whatever I have left in the end should be my savings. And from the savings, I should be able to have a kind of emergency or backup money, and then I should finance my holidays from this money. This is my simple plan. I recommend, if you're having some struggles related with your cash management, writing your own plans as we defined in the second section of this video, by of course creating your own targets, and then after that having your own formulas, simple approaches for your, let's say, short-term cash management. It is important. I'm sure you are going to benefit from it. Please keep in mind that you can, of course, modify your cash flow, the plan, the items, even your formulas. As long as you need to modify them, you should modify them. You should adapt it to the new necessities or new opportunities. However, whatever you do, try to avoid sacrificing your long-term targets for your short-term, let's say, small achievements or pleasures. In the next video, we are going to talk about the cash-related mistakes men do when dating or for dating, and we are going to discuss the methods, or let's say the approaches, to avoid those mistakes. See you soon. Bye.